What's going on, everybody? TheKennyDubz here with another Pokemon Masters EX discussion video. Today we're going to be talking about the last Master Fair unit that is part of the 3rd anniversary, and that's going to be Singing Suit Red, Thunderbolt, and Pikachu. So Singing Suit Red and Pikachu are a very good Master Fair pair, and as we can see, it's going to start September 1st, which at the time this video goes up should be at the next reset. So let's take a look. They're electric type sync pair. They are tech, and the weakness is ground because that's all electric types are weak to. Stats look pretty nice all around. High speed, okay, special attack, but because you're a tech unit, you can expect some fat multipliers for moves and things like that. But let's take a look at the passive skills. First up, we have Kanto Flag Bear here. Powers up moves of allied sync pairs by 10%, reduces damage taken by allies by 20%. The more allied pairs with Kanto theme you have on your team, the higher these percentages are, and just like the other Flag Bear passives, each additional sync pair powers up moves by 10%, reduction by 3%, maximum power is 30%, maximum reduction is 26%. Again, standard Flag Bearer passive. Why did my phone keep going off? Next up, Red's Fighting Spirit is very nice. Let's take a look. Extend the duration of electric terrain when the terrain turns into electric terrain while the user's on the field. So as long as it changes to electric terrain while Red and Pikachu are on the field, it gets extended, right? Kind of like Kyogre and I think Groudon as well. As long as the weather changes to their respective weather while they exist on the field, it will get extended, which is good. Quickly charges the move gauge while the field has electric terrain. Very good. Rose uses HP whenever the Pokemon takes action electric terrain. Very good. So a very loaded passive there. Long electric terrain. Quickly charges move gauge during electric terrain, and or shows it uses move gauge during electric terrain. I'm sorry, it uses HP. So as you can probably guess, Pikachu is going to have electric terrain, which is fantastic in this game. And then we have Clutch Critical, which is actually an insane passive, right? Except in certain circumstances, successful hits with the user's attacks become critical hits. Pokemon moves, sync moves, or max moves. Now, as per usual, they have to say except in certain circumstances because things like crit shield or vigilance will prevent you from critting. But that just means you don't need a crit buff for Pikachu at all, which is good and bad. That means Pikachu is extremely self-sufficient, but that also means that it needs less support. So going forward, support pairs might not be as useful for the crit buff depending on what the units have on them. But this is a very powerful passive in general. Although this does make me think that we might see the rise of things like crit shield, or somehow being able to lessen crit damage or something like that. But this pair is that passive is phenomenal. Then we have Max Countdown 3. Reduces the user's sync move countdown by 3 after using its max move. Again, which is insane because using max moves does not affect your sync move countdown in the first place, but now it not only affects them but reduces your sync move countdown by 3, which is fantastic, right? So let's take a look at the moves. Thunder Shock, it's Thunder Shock. You don't need to worry about like what it does because it's just Thunder Shock. Electric Terrain, just like with Luxray, turn the field into electric terrain. You get 2 uses of that. Buddy Volt Tackle is very interesting to me. Extremely interesting. The first thing you might notice when you look at it, takes up 2 move gauge, okay, but it doesn't have a max use on it. Right? Like, there's no max usage on this. So in the activation conditions, it might be kind of hard to see on the screen because there's so much text like fit in there. When the user's field of play turns into electric terrain, so that's it. As long as electric terrain is up, you can use Buddy Volt Tackle. And based on the way it looks right now, it looks like you could just spam Buddy Volt Tackle. Which kind of makes sense because the other move you have on this Pikachu is Thunder Shock, and Thunder Shock is extremely underwhelming. But the activation condition when the field of play when the field of play's terrain is no longer electric terrain, ignores passive skills that would reduce damage of this attack, ignores passive skills that would protect the protected target against critical hit, ignores the enduring effect. The power of this move is not lowered even if there are multiple targets. Lowers the target's defense and spit up at 1 stat rank when the target's paralyzed. So, now that we've covered like all the text in Buddy Volt Tackle, holy cow, is this a loaded move! And I hope it works the way I think it is. We can just spam Buddy Volt Tackle, right? That's the way it's looking right now, and it's an insane Buddy move. And of course, Red gets the most insane like move of the of the three Master Bears because he's Red. Hits multiple targets. Damage doesn't get reduced even if there are multiple targets. Ignores enduring effect. Guaranteed crit. Ignores passive skills that would that reduce damage. And then it has defense crush on it too for defense and SPDEF. On top of being boosted by electric terrain, because it has to be electric terrain for that to be used. So it's going to be even stronger because of the electric terrain. Oh, I hit my mic there. Sorry about that. But that is just that I can't even fathom. Like they were just like, let's just make this move really broken. Right? Like I feel like they had like a dartboard and we're just like throwing darts and like see what effects it could stack onto it. And then we have the training move Spark of Victory. Razor uses attack by 6 stat ranks, applies gradual healing to all allied sync pairs. It's pretty good. That means Red gets a lot more healing because of the gradual healing, his passive when it's electric terrain, and he gets +6 attack. He doesn't need the crit. So like really all you need to do is provide him with like some speed buffs and he's really good to go. That's basically all the other support that that'd really be useful for him. Sure, you could argue that defenses, but this isn't a defensive unit, so I mean, yeah, that's real good. All right, next up we have the max moves here. We have G-Max Volt Crash, the special version because of the Thunder Shot. We have Max Guard, applies damage guard next to a target ally. This is actually really interesting for Max Guard because Max Guard in this game can protect one ally from damage, so that's very interesting as opposed to it being specific for yourself. And then we have G-Max Volt Crash, the physical version, because of Buddy Volt Tackle. And if you look at all these, leaves all allied sync pairs paralyzed, which is, again, that's just really good. And they get boosted by electric terrain as well. So, like, oh boy. And then because it is a tech type sync pair, or it's a tech roll, the power increases when it's electric terrain. So you get a boost because it's electric type, or it's electric move and electric terrain, and then you get a boost because it's on electric terrain. And oh, I'm sorry, I phrased that wrong. What I meant to say was because it is a tech pair, it gets the 50% damage modifier once it's 6-star EX. That's what I meant to say. Right? So that's it for Pikachu's kit, and it's already looking amazing, right? Like this is just insane. It also makes me very curious about what they're going to do for upcoming Buddy moves, but before I ramble on too much, let's take a look at Pikachu's sync grid. Alright, here we are at the sync grid, and there's a lot of things here that are very interesting. First up, it's Piercing Gaze, moves never miss. Sure. Normally you'll never need this, but Red and Charizard have it, so I mean, I guess having it here is cool too, just in case you ever need. There's a stage that might have, you know, some kind of evasion buffs on it that might be frustrating. Makes me a little worried about the potential extreme battle for Red. But I don't think, outside of like very niche cases, you probably won't need this. Max Conductivity, turns the field of play into electric terrain after using the user's max move, which is, again, extremely good. So you just max move, get electric terrain, get the -3 sync countdown, and then you can just spam Buddy Volt Tackle. Paralysis energy powers the user's move when the target is paralyzed. Very nice. Your max move, 2 of your 3 max moves paralyzed, so that's very good. Electric Terrain Piercing Paralysis 1 raises the accuracy of all allied sync pairs once that rank when the move is successful, so you get +1 accuracy when using Electric Terrain, which is pretty interesting. You have this alongside Piercing Gaze, to be honest. This just helps out the team more, as opposed to being selfish for Red, but I don't know if you would actively go for both of these. Maybe there might be a niche scenario where you need both of these, but that's that. Cakewalk. We know what Cakewalk does. The more the target speed is lowered, the more powers of user's moves. I don't think Pikachu inherently has a way to lower speed Maybe it does somewhere else in the grid that I'm just not aware of. But as it is right now, you would just have to pair something else with Pikachu so that you could take advantage of the Cakewalk. Shocking slowdown, not in. Oh, okay, never mind. Has 100% chance of lowering the target's speed by 1 stat rank when the user's move against a paralyzed target is successful. Alright, well, there we go. Pikachu does have a way to inherently lower speed. You might not want to grab these two in conjunction with each other. It might be better to have someone else that can lower speed so that you get the damage ramp up faster. Just maybe. And then you can use that energy for something else. Static Shock 3 allows it to use a sync move and the target is paralyzed. So here's one sync move multiplier here. Ramp Up, raise the user's special attack by 2 stat ranks when the move is successful. That's alright. It really only affects your max move, which you might want to open with. So I don't know how useful this is going to be because that's the only source of special attacks Pikachu has, or this Pikachu has. Spark of Victory MP Refresh 2. 30% chance of restoring MP to the move when it's successful. You definitely don't need this. You get +6 attack off of just using it once, and that's all you need. We have Life, prevents paralysis. Thundershock's Class Environment 4 raises the chance of inflicting static conditions with the effects of moves, so they have a higher chance of. Yeah, I think it puts it to like a 50% chance to paralyzing with Thundershock. Thundershock Move Gauge Refresh, 40% chance of restoring move gauge, is not bad. Thundershock Staggering has a 50% chance of making the target flinch when the user's attack against the target successful. So you can have Thundershock a 50% chance to flinch them and paralyze them, which is pretty interesting. Haymaker, the more the user's attack is raised, the more powers up your sync moves, which is very nice because that combos extremely well with your trainer move as that gets you to +6. We only have 2 sync move multipliers here, which, with how loaded everything else is in this kit, that's okay. Usually tech pairs have multiple sync multipliers, but you have multipliers everywhere else in your kit for Pikachu, so you don't necessarily need the raw sync move multipliers. Attack to the max 3 powers up max move the more the user's attack is raised. So this is just Haymaker but for max move, which is very interesting. I don't think we have that yet as a potential thing. Headstrong user's attack cannot be lowered, and again might be a niche thing where your attack might get lowered throughout the stage, so you slap this on so Pikachu's attack does not get lowered. Ground Wire prevents the user from flinching, becoming confused, or becoming trapped when the terrain is electric terrain. Again, I think this is more of a niche thing here, but when it's useful, it will be useful. Charge immunity, status condition cannot be inflicted on the user when the terrain is electric terrain. Again, situationally useful, but when it comes in handy, it will come in handy. Though you could make a build of this, I suppose, if you wanted to make more like a disruption build so that Pikachu is not the main damage dealer. So then maybe you go like, you want to go something like this. Just have these included and go like that with Pikachu. That's a possibility that you could do, I suppose. Might be kind of interesting. Like, just in case you don't want to use Pikachu as a damage dealer, like you just want Pikachu there to set up the electric terrain and have it be extended, and maybe you want to use Lisa Dev Strika as your main damage dealer, just as an example, or Ash and Pikachu. Shock and Recovery 1 restores user HP whenever it takes an action while it is electric terrain. Now this should I think this stacks with his passive. It's a different name, but also if it didn't stack, I think this would be pointless. So that should stack. If it doesn't, I don't know. But yeah, that's it for Ash and Pikachu. They are, like, again, I cannot stress enough, they are phenomenal sync pair. I will definitely be pulling for them come reset. Hopefully I get them. I also would like to have Ash and Pikachu as well. This actually pairs really well with Ash and Pikachu, both being Kanto. You know, you got the Kanto passives locked and loaded. You have the stacked kits of these two Pokemon, these two sync pairs inherently. Then you have electric terrain bolstering them even further. So it's just like, please, just do electric type damage. but they're also good on their own. You know, this has more utility as it has electric terrain, so that is great as well. Yeah, like I said, it's a phenomenal sync pair. This will be very, very good for anything that has electric weakness. I'm looking directly at... oh, no, I think Aaron wanted me to have special. Yeah, Aaron wanted me to have special. Which I don't have many electric special sync pairs. But this will pair well with How and Alolan Raichu now. I think I'd prefer this over Luxray and How, actually, as Luxray and... God, I forgot his name. Volkner and Luxray as well. It's actually very, very good that this is another pair that is useful with electric terrain, because Volkner's biggest hater was himself. Because Volkner and Electivire can't be on the same team as Volkner and Luxray has electric terrain. Electivire also has electric terrain after it uses a sync move, but you want up the electric terrain before you sync move as well. So now Pikachu can provide that for you, which is, again, phenomenal. Those are my thoughts on Pikachu. Red and Pikachu. Let me know what you guys think down below about this sync pair if you'll be pulling for it. Yeah, not much else to say about it. It's very straightforward, I think. As per usual, I'd like to give a shout out to my supporters on Patreon and my 2 channel members for allowing me to continue what I do and supporting me monetarily. If you would like to support me through either of those 2 means, you find out down below in the video description or just below the video as well. And I will see you guys next time. Later.